Here's my book that I wrote a couple years back about my theories on the universe called Divinity at a Distance. You can order it online, but this physical copy, it's like way more expensive. Like you can see, like the price is like $114.95 for a physical copy. That's basically the what it's about. If you read that, you can pause it and look at it. It's a really rough analogy of what it's about, but I wrote it a few years back, and I also did my own artwork. I think I was gonna probably bust out some extra artwork that I did for a sequel to this book I wrote. I wrote it, yeah, published it in 2024. But yeah, I got like various like illustrations and stuff in it that I did. Like there's like it's basically made up of like 7 sub books where the first part, this part right here, about 320 some pages in, is about the original like idea that I had for this book about like the history of the solar system, my theories on the history of the solar system, and what could have probably happened, and like relative to like biblical interpretations of the past and stuff with like you know the biblical flood and stuff. But that's just like a really small piece of much bigger picture and story of what really probably happened in the past. But you can order it online for a lot cheaper price than the physical copy, and you can read the first like couple like pages or so, I think, of like of for free online. But yeah, the second subsection, or like second like sub book, that like books within books, like I write more like a what I like my imagination of what we could do in the future, like space flight and terraformation of like planets like planet Earth and Mars and beyond and stuff. And talk about like things like building what they call like kind of a rough analogy of what they call like that's I think a Dyson sphere. Yeah, that's it. If that's possible. Who knows with what's been going on lately with things like with Elon Musk's like rockets and stuff, and like the apparent like Artemis 2's team going to fly by around the moon. But yeah, you can see the different illustrations for this second book within the book called The Shaper of Worlds, about what we could do with like building like a Dyson sphere around the solar system. And the third sub book is I go back to the original story of from the other book before The Shaper of Worlds, about the history of the solar system and my theories on what probably happened. I did a lot of illustrations. It's kind of funny that this book didn't really take me that long. Like I could easily say from my relative personal truths that I had this like I don't know, just divine inspiration. I just had a lot of fun. I just wrote it in a couple months, and the artwork. I haven't written like that in a long time. The sequels to this book, called like the Chronicles of the Worlds and the Chronicles of the Stars and beyond, like different ones, like I kind of like meshed up like different parts from this book with other writings as well. So, but I expand on like my theories on what could have happened, like the history of like nearby stars as well, like Alpha Centauri and stuff, and beyond that. But yeah, it gets a little complicated. You have to read the book. I'm just, laying out a rough analogy of what it's about. Like, it's a pretty long story, but I had a lot of fun writing it. I've written like, I don't know, I'd say about like maybe like 10 full novels. Like, and like I had like 3 other books published before this one that you can also order online. But this is my favorite writing experience that I ever did. Was writing this book here. I had a lot of fun. I also did a lot of research and a lot of research and science and stuff online. But I had a blast with it. I'll probably bust out the other artwork and I'll do a video looking through that. I haven't looked in like the artwork in this book and like the other artwork I did for the Chronicles of the Worlds, the sequel to this book, in like a long time. And here's the 4th sub book. I talk about like my theories on just, the basic rough analogy of like human civilization going back to the earliest records, and I go into the history of different cultures and stuff and societies and nations throughout history. Rough world history that, before like way more ancient things that I talk about that happen in the solar system in the other sub books. But this is my theory on like the potential like stories of the worldwide flood. It doesn't have to really. It could be like different like uh, local floods, which do happen all the time. But who knows if there could be a relative time in history where most of the world was probably covered in water from melting ice caps and stuff from the last ice age. That's not something you can throw away, dismiss. But yeah, I love the artwork I did. A lot of them kind of look like they were did by a little kid, but I don't know. I was just laying out what I my concepts and stuff. I couldn't have my publisher do artwork from all the artwork that I wanted them to do. It would have been a lot more work and like more like expensive and stuff. So I just started having fun just doing my own artwork, and I put them all in this. And yeah, this is the 4th sub book, and we'll go on into the 5th sub book, which I go back to my imaginations of what we could do with the future of the solar system and stuff, and planet Earth, like fixing up the environment and doing like intricate calculated space plans in the future from going to the moon and Mars and the Jupiter Jovian satellite system, the moons around it and the other moons around the other gas giants. But even when you think about it, just the arena of the solar system itself is so incomprehensibly vast and huge that just the time links that it takes, like what was it, like 4 hours for light to get to Neptune, like the sun. And just think about just traveling at just the lower speeds that we have right now with spaceships. Take a long time. But if we did like a perfect like setup of beforehand of what we could do in tangent all at once, and like we could do things a lot faster just in the solar system's arena, let alone what is way out there beyond the other star systems and the other galaxies. And then you think about James Webb Telescope and what they've been finding like in deep space. It's pretty fascinating stuff. And yeah, I haven't looked through this book in a long time. I'm gonna probably bust out that other artwork I did and look at it and do a video of it. And then you got the 6th sub book I wrote. Yeah, Animal Kingdom. Just because I talk about like theories that most like fundamentalists would like think, like concepts of biological evolution or at least adaptation to environments over time is like sacrilegious or something, or it means that there's no God. That's not true at all, because I don't know, God can work any way it wants to. And it seems like, like larger space time and like how general relativity can't be united with the quantum mechanics is kind of the proof that there's like a thing that's of ultimate certainty that's outside of our comprehension, that's bigger than us. But well, I go way deeper in that in this book. You have to order it online and read it. I had a lot of fun writing it. But yeah, this is the sub book Animal Kingdom. And then the last one I wrote was a really short one called the Shaper. I mean, what was it called? The Image of God, and that's what it's called. Yeah. Yeah, this is the Image of God right here. Yeah. And then in the last sections of the book, I just got like different artwork that I did. And yeah, you can order it online. It's my favorite book that I ever wrote.